Okay, so this will be for section 6.5, and it's for trig equations. And they say with approximate solutions. The reason they say that is because you're going to do them on the calculator. And this is actually some pretty good review for the final. Take you back through your calculator a little bit. Okay. So the directions will say find to the nearest tenth. Find to the nearest tenth of a degree the solutions where on these x is greater than or equal to 0, and on this one less than 360 degrees. So your answer is between 0 and 360, and they're not including 360 as a possible. Okay, so I'm going to go through two examples. Say they give you 7 sine x plus 13 equals 10 plus 3 sine x. Okay, you got to look at the 7 sine x and the 3 sine x. That's just like 7y and 3y. So those are like terms. So get them together on one side, and usually we subtract. So get the smaller one over to the other side. So combine like terms. So you get 4 sine x plus 13 equals 10. And you're trying to get the sine x by itself. So do the inverse, subtract 13. So you get 4 sine x equals a negative 3. And then divide by 4 on both sides. Okay, so divide by 4. So you get sine x equals a negative 3/4. Or that's the same, if basically it's telling you exactly what to do on your calculator. It's saying take the negative 3 divided by 4. So make sure you're in degree mode and 4 decimal places. And then okay, so take negative 3 divided by 4. You get the negative 0.7. And you can, if you want to write that down, you can. So now basically you know the value of the function. You don't know the angle. But you have to pay attention to this. Remember, this goes way back when we first started the calculator. Sine is negative in what quadrants? Remember A Smart Trig class? Yes, negative in 3 and 4. So our answers have to be in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Remember, this says all functions are positive in quadrant 1. Sine and its reciprocals positive in quadrant 2. Tangents positive in quadrant 3, and cotangent. Cosine's positive. So we know our answers. So now on your calculator, this is good because it makes you go back and review. You know the value of the function. You don't know the angle. When you don't know the angle, it's inverse sine of that answer. Okay, now the calculator, I can't control this. On the calculator, what it's given you the x is a negative 48.6 if I round it to the nearest tenth. Okay, and picture-wise, if we were doing it, we'd start here on the positive side, and a negative 48 would put us down here. But our answer can't be negative. Our answer has to be between 0 and 360. So what we have to say is, what's the angle that gets us there? So knowing that that's a negative 48 on my calculator, what do I have to do on my calculator to get the answer? Yeah, add 360. Yep. So one of my answers, and this takes care of the the quadrant 4. One of my answers is 311.4. Now you have to draw the picture for quadrant 2, and actually the positive side of this is your reference angle. So in, not quadrant 2, quadrant 3. Sorry, quadrant 3. So this is the reference angle, the 48.6. So now what you need to figure is this angle. So what do I have to figure on the calculator? Yeah, 180 plus the 48.6. Okay, and I get 228. So 180 plus the 48.6, and I get 228.6 is my other answer. Okay. Okay, now let me stop there. Does that kind of come back from when we did that way back when we first started on the calculator? A little bit. So that part, a good review. Okay, let's look at the second example. Okay, on the second example, say they give you 3 tangent squared x minus 22 tangent x plus 7 equals 0. Okay, now as soon as they bring in the squared term, you have options for how to work it. You have factoring, completing the square, quadratic formula. So I'm going to do this one by factoring, but I think I'll also show you the quadratic formula for review. Okay, so if I was doing this factoring, it's already in standard form equal to 0. There's nothing in common, so then I'm going to go to 2 sets of parentheses. From algebra 2, if you remember from algebra 2, we need 2 numbers that multiply together to give you 3. Our only choices are 1 and 3. 2 numbers that multiply together to give you 7, and that's 1 and 7. And they have to add together to give you, if this is a plus sign, you say they add together to give you the 22. So it's got to be the 3 times the 7 and the 1 times the 1. So we know we need like a 3 tangent x and a tangent x. We know we need the 3 times the 7, so the 7's got to go over here, and the 1's got to go here. This tells you the signs are alike. This tells you they're definitely both negative. Now, double check your middle term. Let's see. Yep, because that'd give us a negative 21 tangent x, and a negative 1 tangent x does give us a negative 22 tangent x. Okay? Okay, so you've got it factored. Now set each factor equal to 0. Set 3 tangent x minus 1 equals 0. And tangent x minus 7 equals 0. Okay, add 1. So you get 3 tangent x equals 1. Divide by 3. So I get tangent x equals 1/3. Okay, now let's solve that one. Okay, so it's telling you exactly what to do on your calculator. Read it, 1 divided by 3. Okay, and you get to 0.333. If you want to go ahead and write that down, you can. Tangent of x equals 0.3333. Okay, and then inverse tangent, and you got to look at the SIG, and it's positive. Tangent is positive in what quadrants? One and 3. So we know our answers for this part have to be 1 and 3. Okay, so you know the value of the function. You don't know the angle, so do inverse tangent of that answer. Okay, so I get the answer 18.4. So that takes care of quadrant 1. Then you have to draw the picture for quadrant 3. Okay, so if this is 18.4, you got to get the angle that gets you there. Yeah, so add 180. Okay, and our other answer is 198.4. So those are 2 answers for that part. Okay, then add 7. We get tangent of x equals 7. same thing. It's positive in 2 quadrants, so we need 1 and 3. Okay, so on this one, put in 7, and then inverse tangent of 7 of that answer. I get 81.9. That takes care of quadrant 1. And then the same thing, we need to be in quadrant 3. This is 81.9. So add 180. Okay, and you get 261.9. 261.9. So for that problem, there's actually 4 answers. So that means you could take any of those 4 answers and go back and sub that x value in. And it won't be exactly 0, it will be close because we've rounded our answers. Okay, now, some people in the other hour said, okay, what happens if you can't get to this step, you're stuck? Well, not really. You can go back, you still do it like you did quadratic equations. It's a quadratic formula. Okay, so let's try it that way. And any of these, you don't have to factor it. You could go to the quadratic formula. Okay, so if I take that beginning equation again and do it a different way, so tangent squared x minus 22 tangent x plus 7 equals 0. Remember, it's in this form. It's like the ax squared plus bx plus c. So my a is 3, my b is a negative 22, my c is 7. Okay, and instead of having x equals, you're going to have tangent x. So on the left side, you're going to have tangent x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and it's all over 2a. So tangent x, sub in, we'd have the opposite of a negative 22. I don't do any simplifying. I just sub in first, and then I simplify. And then it's a negative 22. Be very careful on this. If you do this on the calculator, you have to have parentheses around the negative 22, minus 4. The a is 3. The c is 7. Double check me. You agree with that? And it's all over 2 times 3. Are we good? Okay, then this would be 22 plus or minus the square root of, take negative 22 squared, I get 484. And this would be 12 times 7 would be minus 84. Double check my arithmetic. And I get 22 plus or minus, that would be square root of 400 over 6. And square root of 400 is 20, right? So you have 22 plus or minus 20 all over 6. So you got 22 plus 20 would be the 42 over 6, which would be the 7. And then you got 22 minus 20 would be the 2/6, which would be the 1/3. So your tangent of x equals 7, or your tangent of x equals the 1/3. Then you got to go ahead and do the angles that we did. Got to go ahead and solve all that. It's the same answers that we had up above for. Okay, so you're not stuck doing the factoring. You can do the quadratic formula. You just got to figure out the a, the b, the c, and be very careful if you're putting in a negative. It's got to be in parentheses squared. And that 6, the 6, if you're reducing it, the 6 divides into both this part and that whole thing underneath the radical. Okay, so you got to be careful how you reduce it. For example, if I had something like 15 plus or minus 5 radical 3 all over, let's say 10. Okay, the 5, I could say 5 goes into 15 3 times, 5 goes into 5, and 5 goes into the 10. So you reduce it like that. It does not change the part underneath the radical. Okay, a little bit of review from the Algebra 2. Okay, enough examples? Okay, the assignment should be on the iTunes U